Hello there. I believe in learning something new every day. Good times and bad times are just times, they pass away. People around us will fade in memories someday. The only thing that remains with us the whole life is our knowledge, hard earned and practiced well. English is a very interesting language. You can learn it if you only practice well. In this session, we are going to study about active and passive voice. Active voice means that a sentence has a subject that acts upon its verb. Passive voice means that a subject is a recipient of a verb's action. You may have learned that the passive voice is weak and incorrect, but it isn't that simple. When used correctly and in moderation, the passive voice is fine. In English parsing, verbs have 5 properties: voice, mood, tense, person, and number. Here, we are concerned with voice. The 2 grammatical voices are active and passive. Using the active voice conveys a strong, clear tone, and the passive voice is subtler and weaker. Here's some good advice: don't use the passive voice just because you think it sounds a bit fancier than the active voice. That said, there are times the passive voice is useful and called for. Take "the squirrel was chased by the dog" for example. That sentence construction would be helpful if the squirrel were the focus of your writing and not the dog. A good rule of thumb is to try to put the majority of your sentences in the active voice, unless you truly can't write your sentence in any other way. When the subject of a sentence performs the verb's action, we say that the sentence is in the active voice. Sentences in the active voice have a strong, direct, and clear tone. Here are some short and straightforward examples of active voice. Monkeys adore bananas. The cashier counted the money. The dog chased the squirrel. All 3 sentences have a basic active voice construction: subject, verb, and object. The subject monkey performs the action described by adore. The subject the cashier performs the action described by counted. The subject the dog performs the action described by chased. The subjects are doing, they take action in their sentences. The active voice reminds us of the popular Nike slogan, "Just do it." A sentence is in the passive voice, on the other hand, when the subject is acted on by the verb. The passive voice is always constructed with the conjugated form of to be plus the verb's past participle. Doing this usually generates a preposition as well. That sounds much more complicated than it is. Passive voice is actually quite easy to detect. For these examples of passive voice, we will transform the 3 active sentences above to illustrate the difference. Bananas are adored by monkeys. The money was counted by the cashier. The squirrel was chased by the dog. Let's take a closer look at the first pair of sentences. Monkeys adore bananas and bananas are adored by monkeys. The active sentence consists of monkeys, subject, plus adore, verb, plus bananas, object. The passive sentence consists of bananas, object, plus are adored, a form of to be plus the past participle adored, plus by, preposition, plus monkeys, subject. Making the sentence passive flipped the structure and necessitated the preposition by. In fact, all 3 of the transformed sentences above required the addition of by. The basic rules of conversion from active voice to passive voice are: convert subject of active voice to by plus agent of passive voice. Convert object of active voice to the subject of passive voice. Change the active verb to be plus participle form of the verb. If you can understand these 3 basic rules, you can change active voice to its passive form in moments. Now that we have discussed what active and passive voice are, and what their uses are, we must now move to the rules of conversion. First of all, let us know the conversion rules of pronouns. The one-line statement for the conversion of pronouns is: change nominative form of pronoun in active voice to objective form in passive voice. That is, I changes to me, he changes to him, she changes to her, they changes to them, we changes to us, you and it remain the same. Let us see them tenses by tenses. Today we will do only the present tense. In present tense, only 3 tenses are converted to passive voice. Let us first understand the present indefinite tense. The present indefinite tense in active form follows the following format: subject plus, verb plus, object. For example, students pay attention in the class. While, in the passive voice, the form changes to subject plus, is, are plus, past participle plus, object. For example, attention is paid by the students in the class. One more important thing to notice is that the subject in active comes at last in passive voice, so the object becomes subject, and the subject becomes the object. Along with that, please do note that past participle is the third form of the verb. Now, let us move to the second part, the present continuous tense. The general format or syntax in active voice of the present continuous tense is subject plus, is, or are plus, present participle plus, object. For example, I am making a presentation. Now the general format changes to subject plus, is, or are plus, being plus, past participle plus, object, in passive voice. So, the sentence in passive voice is like, a presentation is being made by me. Please note that by is needed to add the object in the passive form, which is the subject of active voice. One more thing to be kept in mind is that, while changing the continuous tense to passive voice, being is added just before the past participle. This is the third and the last of the present tense that can be converted to passive voice, the present perfect tense. The syntax is as following: subject plus, has or have plus, past participle plus, object. For example, they have sung it beautifully. In passive voice the syntax changes to subject plus, has, or have been plus, past participle plus, by object. For example, it has been sung beautifully by them. Thing to be noted here is that there is no change in the form of verb. It is the same in both the sentences. Thus, it marks that there must be no change in the form of verb while changing a present perfect tense sentence to its passive voice. Present perfect continuous tense is not changed to passive voice. So, this is the end of present tense conversion rules. Try doing some conversions by yourself. Conversion of sentences from active to passive voice is the simplest form of conversions in English. There are a lot more complex conversions. We will learn about them too. Remember friends, there is no shortcut to success. If you want to succeed in something, you must go through it. You cannot learn a game without playing it. The same is with these. You have to practice more and more to get your doubts cleared. We can only show you a guideline. To follow is your choice. We have done present tense today. In the next session we will be moving to past and the future tense. But that's future. Present is present. I will end this video with a quote: past is history, future lies in mystery, but today is a gift, that's why it's called present. Thank you. Stay safe, we'll meet soon.